The humble man and the unwanted child. There lived a poor, humble, and very kind-hearted man by the name of Harris. He was well known and loved by everyone for the good deeds he has done. Harris spent most of his time working, feeding the hungry, attending church, and helping those in need. One afternoon, on his way back from work, he stumbled upon a little child, shivering in the cold. He approached the child and asked, "What are you doing out here? Where are your parents?" The child replied, saying, "I'm hungry and tired." Harris looked around in search of the boy's parents, but he saw no one. He then picked the child up and brought him back to his place. When they arrived, Harris fed the child, got him cleaned, and again attempted to ask the child about his family. But yet again, the child replied, saying, "I am tired." Harris was not concerned. However, he took the child in for the night with plans of locating the parents in the morning. Finally, the moon went off duty and the sun was now shining brightly, and with that, Harris went off on a mission to reunite the missing child with his family. On their way through the town, they stumbled upon a few people who claimed the boy was cursed, and anyone who cared for the child would too be cursed. Now Harris was a faithful believer in God, and he refused to believe in such tales, and with that, he continued on his journey in locating the child's family. Again, Harris stumbled upon a family who claimed to have cared for the child for a week. They said they too saw him out in the cold, all alone, and when they asked of his name, he only replied saying he was hungry and tired. Yet the night they brought him home, everything changed for the worse in their family, so they had no other options but to put him out. The family bragged about how their lives went back to normal after putting the cursed child back where they had found him. Harris' eyes were filled with tears. He then came to the conclusion that maybe the child was simply homeless or was an orphan, but his final decision was to care for the child until the family came knocking on his doors. On their way back home, Harris was scorned and told by the people in the village to leave the child be, for he was a good man and way too kind to be cursed. Harris refused to listen to the villagers, and he still catered for the child. It's been a week since the child has been under Harris' care, and unfortunately, during those days, he lost his job and his sight. Now Harris was jobless and blind, and through all that, Harris still tried his best to fend for the child despite his condition. He even went out in search for a job, begging to work in exchange for only food. He was good with his hands and willing to do anything. But the same people who claimed to have loved and respected him ignored and refused to help him. They told him they were scared of the curse and that they tried to help him before. Therefore, he was on his own. Harris then returned home, while everyone in the street mocked him. When he arrived inside, he said, "Come, my child, I have no food for you, but I promise to stay by your side until the day I die." The child replied, saying, "Father, my name is Adasarus, and I am an angel. I was sent down on earth to find a faithful family, one that would be tested to see how strong their bond and faith was within God. In return, that family would be blessed tremendously by having me, an angel, being a part of their family until the time comes for them to cross over. Harris was shocked. He couldn't even respond. Again, Adasarus said, I've stumbled upon many claiming to be faithful and strong believers, yet they all failed miserably when put to a week, even days of challenges. But you, Father, is indeed a righteous believer. Moreover, I'm proud to be your son. I, Adasarus, will stay by your side until the day you cross over. With that, Adasarus hugged Harris. Then Harris realized he was no longer blind. In fact, he could see perfectly clear. He then placed his hands on the child's face and said, Oh, I've longed for a child to call my own. And finally, God has answered my prayers. Adasarus, my boy, you're truly a blessing, one which was worth the wait. After all that affectionate moment, Adasarus told his dad to pick the phone, and when he did, he received a call from a bakery stating that they were handing over the bakery to him. Adasarus smiled while looking at his dad as he whispered, It's my turn to take care of you. Harris was now a baker, running his own business, and his shop was filled with many customers, even the ones who mocked and refused to help him. They were all so surprised to know he was now seeing and running his own business with the same child they called cursed, smiling, talking with the customers, and even serving them. Despite all, Harris did not treat them badly, nor did he treat them any differently from the other customers. He treated them all the same. Now his villagers were calling him the forgiving, faithful man, in which they've all wronged, yet he forgave them. Harris, on the other hand, lived happily with his son as they both continued to feed the hungry and help those in need. The end.